Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. I am Kylene, and I'm with WeHeart.biz, our success group, and Rise and Shine Yoga, and MountainCo.biz. We're all here, all different ways that we can help you. And so I'm very thankful for being here today. It is a beautiful day here in Missouri. It's it's kind of weird, like it'll be sunshiny and then it just downpours rain and then it's sunshiny and nice. So I kind of like it. Um, so doing good here. Today I am very thankful for having a handyman come out and help us fix some toilets and a light switch for us. Definitely something we probably could have figured out, but it was worth it to have the expert come in and just take care of it all at once. So very thankful for that today. I'm also really thankful for my family and my friends who are always there supporting me, cheering me along. And I'm just very fortunate to have such a good, strong group of people around me. I'm very thankful for that. So today I'm here every week talking about gratitude. And again, the reason why we talk about gratitude, yes, we all know we need to have the attitude of gratitude, right? But sometimes you need to be intentional. Sometimes you actually need to put some thought to that gratitude. And for me, that is, when you're in the state of gratitude, you're in a state of abundance. So therefore, you have more to be thankful for. You start to become creating a habit of your thinking when you're in the attitude of gratitude, right? You start to appreciate all those amazing things that we have around us. And now more than ever, with everything that's going on, we need to come back to gratitude to help us get through this difficult time so we can move forward in a more positive way that's going to create some solutions and just definitely just give us hope for our future. And appreciating what we currently have definitely allows us to move forward. So that's why I'm here every week. Let's check in here. Hey, Mom, thanks for joining. I hope you guys are doing well. So anyway, that's why I'm here talking about gratitude, because it is so important. It's something we all have the ability to do, and I think that's something to remember. And that's why I wanted to talk a little bit about negative self-talk, how that harms us, how that can really just kind of deflate all that we've built up, all that we're working towards, that negative voice, right? We all have that negative voice in us, and it's just, how long do you let it speak? How much power do you let it to have? I talked about before how you want to have that inner coach, not the inner critic, right? Because if a coach talked to me the way that, or if someone talked to me the way I talk to myself sometimes, they probably would not be a part of my life. And so I wanted to expand on that. I'm sorry. I have Joey in here, our dog, and she can hear Aaron on the other side of the door. And so she is not happy that the door is closed. So forgive me if you hear something in the background. It's just Joey. Maybe she'll go on the camera. Maybe she'll go further back and you guys can see her. But anyway, so that negative self-talk can harm us so much. And I think we need to bring attention to it, and the attention to the power of our thoughts and how much control that we can give that, and how it can really dictate kind of how our life goes and how we feel in our life and our skin and all that good stuff. So I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm guessing I'm not the only one. We've had that thought, well, I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not creative enough. I'm not this. I'm not this. I'm not this. Whatever, you're not enough. And for me, different points in my life, I've had those thoughts, and I still continue to work through those thoughts of not being enough. Even though I know I am enough, I'm perfect. We're all perfect. We all have our unique gifts. Those thoughts still come into mind. So I wanted to, highlight this so we can take control and have more positive thoughts, because really, the people who have more positive thoughts, the people who are in a more positive headspace most of the time, they tend to be more satisfied with their life. And therefore, that leads to more enjoyment, more satisfaction and fulfillment, which is so important. Looks like Wendy's here. Hey, Wendy. Afternoon. You are more than enough. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, but that inner voice, right? When you're starting something new, or maybe someone new came into a space and they have a different skill set. Maybe they're really good at this one thing that maybe you're not quite there yet, and that thought can creep in, and when those thoughts come in, it takes away all that joy. It takes away from that experience, right? Because you were made perfectly just how you are, and so you have a unique skill set to share. And so comparison is how does that quote go? Comparison is the thief of joy, or something like that. It takes away any enjoyment that you have. And so our thoughts are so powerful that it affects our body, not only emotionally, but also physically. Having those negative thoughts, I wrote down some of the things from an article I read, but I'm sure we all know how we feel, right? When things are challenging and those thoughts may creep in. I think we all have had those effects, those negative effects in our body. I know you can get higher blood pressure, that you get increased stress, you experience maybe intestinal issues, your body temperature goes up, your heart rate speeds up, you get muscle tension. All of those things are effects from those negative thoughts and that headspace that we're staying in, and who we're listening to. So that's why it's so important to learn about the power of our thoughts, and how if we change that to more of a positive mindset, how much further along we're going to be to reaching our goals, how much further along we are in just being satisfied and appreciating our life. All of those good things come as a result. So highlighting those negative thoughts and the power it can have over us, I think it brings it to perspective of how powerful it can be. So that's why I wanted to highlight what it actually feels like, what happens physically to our body when we're in that headspace with those negative thoughts. Wendy shared, I have had to work through this with my vision loss. Yeah, so that was a challenge, right? That was something new for you, and you had to accept it, right? And you had to adapt, and you had to continue to move forward. And yeah, it gets challenging. You get put in a new situation where you have to, something that might have been not difficult for you before, you're experiencing new challenges, and quieting those negative thoughts is so important to continue to move forward. Though it allows us to get through those challenging times even faster, right? And with a better attitude. And so you appreciate what you still have, and all that you still can give, and all of that. It just it definitely, thank you for sharing that, Wendy. I appreciate it. It's so important. And so what can we do to really, quiet those negative thoughts? Because truth is, they might get there. They might still pop up, even if you have this mastery, but it's like, how long do you stay in that headspace? And so becoming more aware of it. And I think that's a huge part, catching yourself. So sometimes this thought pattern that we have, these negative thoughts, it becomes a habit. It's just what we do, right? We share something and we immediately downplay it. And instead of just embracing it, enjoying, and then moving forward, we can downplay it, and it becomes like just a thought pattern that we have. And so it's a habit, or we can justify these thoughts. So maybe, it's a real challenging time. We justify it. Well, anyone would be upset if this happened to them. Or, you come up with those excuses to just make it right for having these negative self-talks. And all of this can be changed. And that's the cool thing. We are in control of our thoughts. We may have to break some patterns. We may have to break some habits. We may have to really be intentional about it, but we can move forward, and we can get through that pattern that we have of not being very nice to ourselves, right? Giving ourselves the confidence that we would give to other people. I'm sure all of us listening right now love to support and help others, right? But why can't we do that for ourselves sometimes? Why do we have to have those, stay in that thought pattern that's not serving us. So I wanted to just kind of talk about different ways it might show up for us. And um, it's just a way to bring some, what's the word I'm looking for? Just some insight to it, right? So we can catch ourselves and then continue to move forward. So one of the ways is never, always, sorry, I can't read my own notes, always or never thinking. So this always happens, or it'll never happen. I'm sure if you think about your past, there's been a time where those words have come out. And I know I'm guilty of this. I'm still working through this as well. But the always mentality, it always happens this way, or never is going to happen, or whatever it might be, that keeps us stuck. That doesn't allow us to continue to grow forward. So when you catch yourself saying those things, that's a time to tune into yourself and see how you can change that thinking into a positive. Um, Again, just focusing on the negative thinking. So sometimes when you're so busy, um, especially if you turn on the news right now, there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of horrible things that have happened and are happening. And so that can impact us, and that has that physical impact. I know when earlier this week, when the horrible thing happened at the school, I felt I felt the muscle tension. I felt my heart rate increase. I felt that increased stress. I felt angry. I felt all those negative feelings. And but how do you move forward? How do you continue to become more of a helper and a solution oriented mindset? And that's getting yourself back into that positive headspace, and not pushing down those feelings, right? We're humans, we have feelings, we have to acknowledge them, because it's real, it's life. That's how we were made, right? But just choosing what we do with them and how we move forward. So I wanted to talk about that. So if, maybe it's the people that you're hanging around. If you're hanging around a crowd or people, or you're putting yourself in constant situations where you're surrounded by negativity, that impacts us, and that affects us from feeling fulfilled. It impacts our joy and all of that, because you have that constant negative feedback to you, and just negative environment. I know in the past I was in a work environment, and I loved what I did, but I was in an environment and it wasn't a positive environment. And I found myself changing. I found myself always looking for the negative, always looking for what's wrong, always looking for the problems, and even going down into who was to blame. And therefore, it took away all my ability to give to the people that I was serving. And so it really doesn't help us to stay in that headspace, to continue to move forward. So I wanted to share a little bit about that. The other thing is the catastrophic predicting. I don't know if anyone's been guilty of this. I'm not too bad in this area, but always thinking worst case scenarios, right? So and fear comes into play here, right? When you have that fear, your brain creates this experience that's not really real, the worst thing that's going to happen, right? And then we can get into a habit again of this thought process. So just being aware of when a new thing is presented to us that might feel a little scary, maybe that's our moment to just pause before we respond, right? And then we get to decide how we move forward. Is that fear really there on purpose? Is this catastrophic event really likely to happen that you're predicting in your head? Because last I checked, we were not mind readers. And that is one of the ways that we can get ourselves stuck in that negative self-talk, by just trying to predict the future. And, the catastrophic, all this could go wrong, right? We stay in that headspace, and that's our brain's way of protecting us. But we're in charge of our thoughts, so we can always come back and change it to more of a positive. Wendy wrote, I have found great self-worth in helping others. Many ways of helping others. My way of helping others may not be the same for others. I love that. Yeah, it's so true. We all serve in a different capacity. We all give to others in a different capacity, and I think that's important, and that's really good to highlight, because what one thing works for one person, it might not work for another person, and to embrace that we're all different, but yet all the same, right? If that makes any sense. But really just embracing that, if we're doing something and it's working for us, and we're creating the life of our dreams, and we're having that sense of fulfillment and purpose and joy, all those feelings, all those positive feelings that we desire, if what we're doing is working, awesome. Keep doing that. Obviously you can share with others, like I am here. I'm sharing all these different ideas and thoughts and tools that you could use, but it's not going to be the same. What works for me might not be the same for you. And I think that's really important to highlight, that maybe you get a little bit of nugget here, a little nugget here, a little nugget here, and then it all comes together for you in your unique way. And so yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Hey, Cindy. Good afternoon on the road today. You all have a wonderful weekend. Just wanted to say a quick hi. Well, thanks for always stopping in and saying hi. It's always good to see you on here. Hope all is well and you have a fun weekend ahead of you. So coming back to, the mind reading, we can't put thoughts into other people. And so sometimes that's, again, that fear of what people think of us, right? We can sometimes have an experience, like for me coming on here doing these Facebook Lives. It took me forever to get brave enough to show my face in front of the camera. And then it took me forever to get confident in actually sharing some ideas. And then it got even further with being consistent with it, right? Because I was assuming, again, I was predicting the worst case scenario, and I was assuming that what people would think of me. Oh, she hasn't been doing this long enough. She shouldn't be talking. Or everyone knows this. Why is she sharing it? All that fear of judgment, right, popped up for me big time. And so I had to consciously do it, survive the risk, and then keep moving forward. And that's why I'm here every week. And none of the stuff that I'm sharing is rocket science. It's all stuff we already know, but just when we talk about it, it's a good reminder for us as a way to just check in with ourselves, so we can continue to live that life of more joy and happiness and fulfillment, all of those things, and just, taking care of ourselves. The other final thing that I wanted to talk about, and how these negative thoughts can show up for us, is just the guilt tripping. When you focus on everything bad and everything that you've done in the past that hasn't worked, you just stop yourself right there, and then you just cut yourself off from any growth, any positivity, any excitement or joy. You just assume again that because it was that way in the past, it's going to be that way again, and you guilt trip yourself, and it's a habit, and people do it. So I just wanted to highlight those different ways it shows up, and know that we can take control of our thoughts, right? The whole cool thing is we create our thoughts, and it's that simple. We create our thoughts, so therefore we can change how our thoughts are, our thought patterns are, and that's going to help us get through life. And then bonus, we come back to gratitude, and gratitude, when we're in that state of gratitude, we're in the state of abundance, and then it's easier to get to those positive thoughts, right? And so gratitude is kind of like that superpower. When you're feeling those negative thoughts and you just can't seem to get to that positive, you can just pause and just look around at the things that you have and just appreciate what you have in that moment. Maybe you don't, if you're all worked out, maybe you just leave the environment you're in and go sit outside for a moment, change that environment, get your headspace right. come back to gratitude, and then you can get to that higher emotional state. And that's going to allow you to continue to move forward, and just accomplish the goals, whatever it is in your life that you're trying to achieve. You can do that in a more positive health space. So you're not experiencing those negative thoughts that create that, not only the emotional blockages that it's created, but also the physical symptoms of those negative thoughts and how it impacts us. And so I want us all to enjoy life and to take care of ourselves, especially now. It's so important to really take care of our own mind and our body as we move forward, and hopefully with more positive thoughts. And that's kind of what I wanted to share with you all today. Looks like I missed a comment. Hey, Cindy. Okay. We all need to be reminded regularly, even in the simple things we sometimes forget about. Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I agree, because I find myself, getting stuck sometimes in that negative self-talk, and it doesn't feel good. I know I'm doing it, and I just want to bring more awareness to it, more insight to it, so I can continue to get out of the habit of having those negative self-talks, because that's keeping you stuck. That keeps you in that old thought pattern that's not giving you the good feelings that we all deserve to have. So if anyone has any experiences on this, feel free to share. But and that's a little bit about what I wanted to talk about. Just, being more insightful into how we're thinking and what thoughts and what are we saying to ourselves. And remember that we are in control of that. We get to create the emotional state that we're in. Fear and anger and those things, it's going to happen to all of us. It's just going to continue to do that. It's just whether or not we want to stay in that headspace, or do we want to pause and reflect, come back to our breath, take control, and realize we have the power in those thoughts. And is it a story we're telling ourselves? Is it something that we're making up just to protect ourselves? It's checking in with ourselves, really. It's just being accountable to ourselves. Erin wrote, just take action. Yeah. Erin's had to remind me of that a lot especially, when I was first getting started. At first, when you get started in a new career, something new you're excited about, you keep moving forward. But then as soon as you have a roadblock, those negative thoughts come in and they start to justify. You're like, well, I didn't have this result, so it must be true, right? But it's not. And so I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, it's just take action. We actually just had our breakfast lunch. We usually have I just said wrong. We just had our lunch date. We usually have a breakfast date. Thank you. And we were just talking about that, just take action, and how just analyzing it doesn't really get us that far. And I can get stuck there analyzing why, always trying to find out the why. Why did I respond that way? Why did I do that? Well, it's okay to understand why, having that insight, but you can get stuck there too. So just keep moving forward and taking action. So thanks for sharing that, Erin. I appreciate it. And Kathy wrote, thanks, Kylene. Positive thoughts are my goal for today. No negative. Yeah. And even if those negative thoughts come up, just acknowledge it and try to do something. Come back to gratitude to get yourself into a better headspace in that moment. And just be kind to yourself. And remember that we're not perfect. We are enough. Like I said at the beginning, we are unique, and we are human, and we have feelings, and we have emotions, and all of that is normal. It's just what we choose to do with them moving forward, and that's what we're in control of. So yeah, that's what I wanted to leave you with. We do have our call to achievement, and so I wanted to share yoga with you guys. Let me get to my there it is. So your call to achievement, maybe I have a different one. Here it is. Your call to achievement is to invest in yourself. Really take care of yourself, invest in your quieting your mind, strengthening your body, strengthening your focus. So your call to achievement is to invest in yourself. Join us for Rise and Shine Yoga. We also have chair yoga as well. So that just gives you do yoga seated in a chair. It just gives you additional support. The regular Rise and Shine yoga is gentle yoga, so it's still not, you're not going to be tied up like a pretzel. It's very gentle. And it really just helps strengthen our body and our mind so we can have more of the positive experiences in life. So if you sign up at riseshine.yoga, you can use code yoga for 10% off. So I would love to have you guys join me on there. We're having lots of fun over there. And, if you have questions or concerns, if you've never done yoga before, it's okay. It's gentle, and I walk you through all the different poses that we do. And I can answer any other questions that you might have, but would love to have you guys join me on there. It's lots of fun, and it's a great way to start your day. So that's your call to achievement, riseshine.yoga. Join me over there. Okay, well, that is it for today. I have to head out to my son's school. He's having a class party, and I am going to go join him on that. I guess they're doing some presentations for us, and having ice cream, so bonus. But anyway, I hope you guys all have a wonderful Thursday, a great long weekend, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.